Well, it looks like we got some interesting new information, basically indirectly. I guess it's more directly relating to Snowden. And, basically he went over to Russia, stole some files, and supposedly the files were not taken to Russia. I don't know, there's controversy over that. But it looks like, maybe they were. Supposedly they were actually given over in, when he went over to Hong Kong, they were all given to the press and that type of stuff. But maybe not. Maybe not. And this is an allegement, I guess, by, it could be disinformation. I know somebody's going to say that. I don't really know. I don't know. But it looks like Russia has a new ability to evade National Security Agency surveillance. And is it a coincidence that it happened this way, or is it something to do with when Snowden went to Moscow? Now, I know a lot of people tell me, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go, right? If you're going to do something like this, where are you going to go, right? First off, if I went to another country, I would probably choose Ecuador, definitely over Russia. For one, it's warmer, But I'm just kidding about that. But I wouldn't even leave, to tell you the truth. I'm going to put this out here as a suggestion for any other people that want to rat out the government because they're doing bad things to the American people. I don't know, maybe a biker group. All biker groups started out basically from veterans. In the beginning, a lot of them were, right. The Hells Angels was one. Warlocks in Orlando, Florida, I think they were started by some former Navy veterans, right? Or one or two of them, or one of them kept a promise and started it. Actually, a lot of, actually there's biker veteran groups. And if you could actually disappear and stay in the United States and be a freedom fighter, maybe you ought to be a biker, It's too idealistic, maybe to get you anyway. And actually, I want to tell you something about the stuff with, the people like Hastings, who was bringing out, stuff that was going on. He brought down the top general. And then this Mercedes, a late model Mercedes, crashed into, a telephone pole after he was speeding, going through. He swerved and he died in a fiery crash. Well, I'm going to point to a link. Actually, it's been proven scientifically by computer engineers since 2010. So basically, more than a few years ago, that a car could, any modern car can have, electronics taken over remotely. And, maybe this guy, so if you stay in the United States and you decide to be, in one of the bikers groups, it don't even have to be an outlaw biker group. Maybe there's a veterans biker group out there to protect you. That would be my option. I would have done that. But I'm suspecting that maybe Snowden might have been a Russian spy right from the beginning. Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? This could be disinformation. I don't know. Coming from our, people saying, to smear Snowden and say that, now that the Russians have ability to evade our surveillance, and they didn't know exactly what the Russian moves were. They weren't able to eavesdrop, and ever since, and it says, is it a coincidence? I don't know. Maybe it's bullshit too, It could be. I don't know. But, if you go ahead and you play the game and you want to get out of, the system per se, I guess the biker way is the way to go. Just make sure you run 6-cylinder Chevy points in your Harley. They do fit. I have those for my Harley. Not that I got any kind of inside information or anything, and I'm going to defect or something, but that would be the way. I would have been put. I don't want to say what I would do because it's like all talk until you actually do it. But I just wouldn't go to Russia. Sorry, I just wouldn't go to Russia because, in my mind, and I'm gonna say this angle because I got dedicated. Even if I say I don't have any dedication to the guys that are running our government, that are raping American people and doing bad things, I got 100% dedication to the people that I knew in the military. And to me, to go to Russia to freaking do all this stuff would be betraying them and putting them in danger. I don't give a shit if I gave them even one grain of information. It's putting our people in danger. That's why I would never freaking do it. It isn't just a matter of patriotism. It's loyalty to the people I knew and I understand that are in there right now. I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't freaking do it, man. Period. You know, you know, if they want to wire me $1 billion or some shit, the Russians, I'd take the money and I'd go with the outlaw biker gang or some shit and I'd give them all the money. That's what I would do. Not that they'd do that because I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't tell them I'd do that ahead of time, but they'd never do that anyway. But, you know, if you're going to actually be on the run, you got to make sure you don't have one of these electronic cars with anti-lock brakes, and you got to have one of these cars from the 60s or something, or 70s or something. Preferably, you know, a clone from, you know, Bullet or some shit, right? The Mustang, go get yourself a Mustang body from Dynacorp or something, and, I mean, it's all talk. I mean, it's a hell of a lot of work to put that shit together, man, believe me. Gazillion years, but, you know, maybe an old Jeep with a 350 Chevy in a damn thing. You got to elude them with points ignition, because if you get anything that's electronic, you're screwed. And if you got a Harley, you got to make sure you put them points ignition in it, because this is actually out there for the next. This guy Snowden, I think, was a Russian spy. Hastings wasn't. Obviously, he got killed. But, you know, say you're a person like Hastings and you're blowing the whistle on stuff. You know, you got to make sure you don't drive anything electronic, man. And, you know, I don't really know nothing about the biker groups, to tell you the truth, nothing. You know, I mean, I mentioned some contact I had a gazillion years ago or something, but I really don't know nothing. But that would be the route I would take. I would go with the biker groups, man. I would. And especially one that was veteran-orientated, because, you know, if there's a problem in the United States, I'm staying in the United States and I'm going to fight the problem, you know, if I was going to freaking do something like this. This Snowden guy, my opinion is, I highly suspect he was probably working for the freaking Russians right from the beginning. I know that's like the ultra-conservative freaking yo-yos say that shit, but there's always been a lot of people in the government that are spies. There's been people like this for a long time. There always has been, you know? And, you know, I just wouldn't give out information to Russia. I just wouldn't go there, because it's like, you know, maybe this guy, you know, well, Snowden never was in the military. So to me, it's not like you're portraying the flag. You're portraying every freaking person in the military when you go over to Russia and kiss their ass and tell them a bunch of shit and you badmouth the United States. That's what you're freaking doing. I don't trust this guy, man. It's just something that doesn't add up with this Snowden guy at all. I know that's unpopular to say on YouTube because they're thinking, oh, he's a big hero and all this other shit, but I don't trust something with it. I don't trust something with it. I think Hastings was, but the lesson with Hastings is, actually I'm going to point a link to it in a PDF document where they actually showed that they can commandeer any kind of electronic car, disable your brakes and your brakes and stuff like that. They could do that remotely. And, you know, I think Hastings was flat out murdered. It was a hit. You know, sophisticated. And I don't know what the hell's the matter with these stupid yo-yos on the tap, these elitists. Because I got to tell you this, you know, people on the tap that are control freaks in general are stupid because they don't see the overall picture. They think they are highly intelligent as an individual, but what they do is they stifle everybody on the bottom that's creative and stuff, that actually comes out with all these new ideas, right? They kill everything that comes up. In other words, you know, the best ideas that came out from humanity basically came out from people that were not under the control of anybody else. You know, like Tesla, for one, right? You know, it was like a true entrepreneur, and he got screwed over, too. Not just by J.P. Morgan, but by the people themselves for freaking ignoring what he did, you know? And people should have gave him money for all the shit he did, you know? Improved the life of everybody around him. Or, you know, anybody like Georges Lukowski with that device. You know, he came out with the Lukowski coil, the MWO, the multi-wave oscillator. He improved people's lives, and that's an invention that's been buried. And people like anybody. I put out Vladimir Putin because I think that guy's evil because all these freaking alternative morons think this guy's going to save the world. He's not. Vladimir Putin's got so much freaking money that, he could take $1 billion. And I know Gates could do the same thing. Gates is a piece of shit. Bill Gates and all this kind of crap. Carlos, Fat Boy, Slim, the other guy, he's another piece of... All these guys are the big bucks. But Putin, too, the same thing. But, Gates don't have his finger on a nuclear button. That's the thing. But Putin could take $1 billion out of his 40 to 50 billion and make like 1 million Lukovsky multi-wave oscillators for the Russian people in the hospitals and stuff like that. He don't do that. He don't give a shit. I mean, I would be doing that. The average person would be doing that. They'd be putting a lot more back into society. This guy don't give a shit. He freaking goes around riding a horse and goes fishing and tranquilizes tigers and tries to play macho shit while he's up there in front of the camera like he's a big leader. He doesn't give shit to nobody. I wish people recognize that because he's just the biggest ass. He's the biggest asshole than anybody in the West that's a big egomaniac, except he's got his finger on a nuclear button. And this is where freaking Snowden goes to. So he portrayed I look at it this way. He portrayed every serviceman and woman in the military. He put them in more danger. Fuck him. Like I said, I mean, it's all me just sitting here right now. But if I was like contemplating, hey man, I'm gonna rat out the NSA and because they're doing all this rotten shit, I'd be, what I'd be doing? I'd be contacting biker groups. That's what I'd be doing. May not work, but that's what I'd be doing. And I'd be putting points in my Harley so they can't disable the ignition like it's gonna fucking do any good. You'd probably zap me with some other shit. But I just wouldn't portray. It's not like portraying America. It's like portraying every freaking member that in the military right now, past, present, and future. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. I just wouldn't go somewhere else. And the Snowden guy probably did give... Well, I'm sure he did. I mean, the freaking Russians own this guy's ass all the way. You're never going to hear a complaint out of him out of Russia. You're never going to hear him say, yeah, the Russians are spying on their people. Snowden's never going to say that. He's done, man. He's there forever. And they probably did get some useful information out of him where... it makes it more difficult to get military intelligence on what's going on in Russia by, they can make their equipment much more secure. I think he did give them a hell of a lot of papers. The Russian engineers ain't stupid, man. They figure that shit out real fast. And they'll use stuff against us. And like I said, it's not just... They're portraying everybody in our military. Everybody I know. Fuck him, man. And, like I said, if you're going to go do this shit, man, maybe the outlaw biker gang or non-outlaw biker gang, veterans group or some shit, I don't know. That would be the way to go, man. You can disappear that way, right? All you need is food and gas, right? And, probably, I don't know, probably the bigger ones would be, I don't really know. I really don't know. I wouldn't trust it. I'd put feelers out there, but that would be my attempt. That would be my method. I wouldn't go to Russia. It'd be in the USA.